Okay, welcome along again, everybody. So we're back for Championship Round 2, and this time it is at Abu Dhabi. So similar to last week, it's a 5.2 kilometre circuit, 16 corners and 9 to the left and 7 to the right. We'll follow a couple of drivers out to watch their opening laps, and we will see who can set some good times tonight. I'm just going to sort all the telemetry out before we get going and make sure it's all up and running. Okie dokie, so it looks like our first car to set a lap is going to be Yeast, who had an unfortunate retirement from the lead of the race last week in Australia, which I still remember I failed to capture. So fingers crossed you can get it across the line and put it in a good position this week. You'll remember last week the pole sitter was Alex. He is currently making his way around on the outlap, just coming through to turn 9 now, so we'll keep an eye on his time, see if he can go to the top of the leaderboard from the get-go. But let's watch on then, as Yeast looks to set off on his lap. Let's ride on board and see how he gets along. So, flat out from the exit across the short start line, a run down to the 100 metre board, 5th gear, left-hander, keeping it tight to the apex and using all the track on the right. Flat out section here all the way down to the newly reprofiled corners. No left-hander here anymore, just straight down into the hairpin at the bottom, 50 metre board, tight left-hander. Easy on the traction and flat out through the first DRS zone. It's a 1.2 kilometre straight down the back of the circuit, down towards the slow speed chicane. I'm sure there'll be plenty of opportunity for overtakes coming into this section of the track before the second DRS zone on what is a straight but isn't straight. It's a good lap so far. Braking just after the 50 metre board, carrying as much speed as he can, getting on the throttle as soon as possible and letting the car drift out wide to the right. Let's see what line he takes through here. He keeps it tight. Very good on the brakes. New section of the track here as well, takes a lot of curb there. Good to take curb on the left, drifted out, back on the power, snap there, and he could have taken more to the right. It's a good effort for the first lap though, I'm sure he'll be improving. Let's see where he goes, let's see what times he gets. It's going to be a 1:24.4, which is a great lap, especially outside of time trial. Let's ride on board. I think we've got a is it the Williams coming across the line? No, it's the Bastian in the Red Bull. What time's he going to set? He goes second fastest with a 1:24.7. 2.5 tenths to the leader. Ross and Lewis have also set the times. Lewis will look to improve on that. I'm sure he made a mistake and Sprunky sets a time, but that will not be a valid time for him there. 1:34. Fast improvements there. Must have been a mistake. Got Gio in the Ferrari with a very wide line. He may have even ran wide for track limits there. It looks like he's going to continue the lap. Got cars moving out the way on the left, good to see. He's going to use the slipstream where he can. Let's hope there's no confusions. He's going to pull out and he gets by the Alfa Romeo nice and easily down into 7 and now towards turn 8. Shaq puts it in P2, still 2 tenths behind the leader here in Yeast. We have Alex making his way around the track for his first lap. I'll keep my eyes on that and we can track him as he goes. I think, is this him? I'll finish this lap and then we'll try and catch Alex's hot lap and see if he can put it on pole position like he did last week. It's a good lap then. Nothing to shout about really. P6, 8/10 off pole position. Now, is this Alex setting up for his lap here? Yes, it is. He's got a long way to go yet, so we will see if anyone else is flying. That's an in-lap. And I believe that's also a warm-up lap. Sprunky is flying, but I'd like to catch Alex if I can. I'll keep my eye on him on the track. Sebastian has set the fastest Sector 3 time, with Yeast taking fastest in Sector 1 and Sector 2. Quite a good gap in Sector 3 actually. That would be just over 3/10 from Sebastian to Yeast in the third sector. That's right on board with Alex then, as he sets off on his first flying lap. He's just heading through the fast-flowing right-hander now, heading down towards the heavy braking zone for the hairpin, minimising the distance very, very effectively there. Easy on the traction, getting it planted to the floor and away through the DRS zone. Open, he's got a nice slipstream here from the Mercedes ahead, Chaco Rodo. The top four make their way back out for their second run. Just over 10 minutes to go here. Alex has set the fastest Sector 1 by 0.02 of a second. Very, very tight there. He's had a slightly worse second sector, 4/10 difference there, so I would guess he's maybe 2 or 3 tenths off the pace of Yeast at the minute. Let's see where he puts him. Maybe P3? P3 it is. 2-3 tenths behind the leader. Good effort. Really good effort. He'll look to improve for a first lap. That's not a bad running as well, and it's a great banker lap if there were to be any mistakes. Oh, we've got a Red Bull looking like he's either made a mistake. Yeah, he's not getting out the way of anyone. Let's hope. Well, that was the start of his lap, which is really unfortunate. He's obviously going to just leave the battery recharge. He's got a flying McLaren up behind him. Must be low. No, it wasn't. It was Atlas on his way out. Let's see then. Do we have anyone at the top on their way for a flyer? Nope, doesn't look like anyone's on a flyer. We'll hang around then. This may be a hot lap from Lewis. His ERS is quite high, so I can't tell if he's recharged. Oh, and he just skimmed the wall there. I wonder if he's got damage from that. It looks like he has. He's picked up broken right-hand front wing damage. So he's going to come in and get that changed. Good thing it was just the front wing. Could have been a lot worse. An Atlas post a time good enough for P6 there. We've got Gio making his way around for his second flying lap. I'm hoping not to miss any of the front runners again. Is that the Aston Martin of Yeast going again? Let me just cut away and check that. Yeah, we've got the pole sitter on his second lap, so let's ride on board with him then. See if he can improve. I'll keep an eye on the sector times. He has set a first sector 1/10 slower than his first, so he's not up right now. He'll get one more shot after this, but there's still a 10.5 gap to Lucist in P2, who shot up there without me even noticing. Shaq all the way down to P4. And here he goes. Shaq has taken pole position by another hefty margin there, 24-1. Let's round it up, 24-2, 2.5 tenths from Yeast. He'll look to improve. Has he posted a faster sector? He's gone a tenth quicker than his first attempt in the middle sector. Let's keep an eye then. In the final sector, he heads through the new complex down towards turn 12, heavy braking zone. Taking a little bit of curb on the right and all the curb on the left. Fifth into fourth, short and shift back into fifth as he come around the final few corners. And he's deciding to box. Mustn't have improved as much as he wanted to. Although he doesn't, well, he won't know he needs to set a faster time. He's probably, oh no, he will have seen Shaq's time actually, so he might want to get back in now, give himself enough time to get round again. Let's see who's finishing these laps then. We've got an AlphaTauri coming around. Ross is coming in. McLaren's coming in as well. Let's watch on then. Alex, pole setter from last week, as he heads around on his second lap of this session. Oh, and he's lost it. He's lost it. It's a hard place to keep the traction there. I imagine he kept his foot to the floor. I think he's going to have enough time to get round and go again. He'll be looking to really improve. 6 tenths to the leader though. I'm not sure if it's going to be his week again. If he manages to put it on pole, that'll be an almighty lap. Most of the drivers in the pit lane then. Let's see if any of these guys are making their way around. Is this? No, that's definitely not a hot lap. Neither is that. And Alex has spun. Spunky's on his out lap. The rest of the guys in the pit lane. Let's watch on with Lewis then. He was hopeful last season. He had an unfortunate end to, it was either qualifying or the race. I think he DNF'd last week. So he'll want to get it high up on the front of the grid tonight. As I'm sure most of you have had a tough day today. It's been very warm in the north, 30 degrees. I'm sure it was even worse down south, but the windows open, the fans are on. The beers have been cracked, obviously. Obviously, that's a given. Shaq's time still to be beaten then, a hefty margin. Let's see where Ross can post now. Sorry, Lewis can post it now. From P13, he moves up to P10. Not the gap he would have wanted to close. He's not quite made it into the 24s. 9 tenths then separating the top 10. Got Sprunky, who will also look to break into the top 10 and also the 24s. He's only a tenth off. He set a 17.6 in the first sector, which is just over a tenth off the pole position first sector. Oh, he's drifted wide there, not as wide, wider than he wanted to. Heavy braking, take the curb, more curb, all the curbs, not that much. Oh, understeer, and he does exactly what the AlphaTauri did earlier. He will finish the lap. Yes, he's going to finish the lap, although I'm not sure if he's going full pace here. He finished the lap, didn't improve and didn't pit. Interesting decision. Now, I don't think he'll get round in time to have another lap, so that might be his highest position. Let's watch Yeast then. I'm not sure if anyone else is on a flyer. Ross, these guys are on flyers. Let's keep our eyes peeled then. Ross very close to the second row of the grid, less than a tenth away. And he is improving on his previous best. And Ross holds the purple sector in the second sector. And ironically, Shaq doesn't have a purple sector to his name. He's just been the one who's put it together cleanly across the entire lap, which is a skill in its own right. He's drifted a little bit wide there, Ross. Let's see where he posted. Let's hope it wasn't invalidated. He's going to finish the lap. Third gear, short shift, foot to the floor. Is he going to improve? No. He doesn't manage to improve on that lap. Now, here we go. The business end of the session. Just a minute left. It's going to be his last attempt for Yeast to take pole position. He's a hefty margin, like I said earlier, 3/10, but he's posted the fastest Sector 1 by just shy of 1/10 over Shaq. Lucis moves back up to P2 with a good lap, but still not closing that gap significantly enough to cause Shaq any problems on the front row. So far, no big incidents in qualifying, which is always nice to see. Everyone getting their laps in, apart from Sprink, who I don't believe is out of this session. I'll check on that once Yeast has crossed the line. Here we go then. He's improved in both the first and the second sector, setting purple sectors in both. Is it going to be enough for pole position, or is it just going to be enough for the front row? He takes pole position, and that is one hell of a gap. He's set the purple in every single sector, and he takes pole position by well over 3/10 of a second. I don't think Shaq is going to have a chance. Yes, he does. He's on a flyer. Here we go. We'll catch him then. He might get some slipstream off the Ferraris in front. It might be too... yeah, it's way too far. Keeps it tight through 8. You'll get a tiny draft off the Ferrari ahead. Minimal. Let's hope we can keep it in one piece. Good turn in there. Third gear. He's going to get an even better slipstream through here. Slightly. The Ferrari's going to have to get out of the way. Oh, and he doesn't. He doesn't. Oh, dear me. Oh, dear. Oh, what is he doing? What is he doing there? What was that? Was Gio on it? No, Gio was just on his... Gio was just on his outlap. On his outlap. And he may well have just cost Shaq P1. Let me take a look at the sector times then. Shaq was down on both the first and second sector, so it may not have made a difference, but that's not what you want to see at all, especially when he got alongside him there and Gio seemed adamant not to move out the way, whether it's just a lapse of concentration as the Mercedes mechanics get splattered by a Red Bull there. So there's still time remaining. Some cars, I don't know who's going to make it round. If there's anyone out already, they might. I think he would go... Gio will catch him on his lap. Now, what will be a shame... well, not a shame from a non-biased point of view, but from Shaq's point of view, if Gio pips him to P2, he won't be best pleased. Like I say, it didn't seem like it was going to be a lap to take pole position, so not the worst case. And Lucis has finished his session anyway. It's all just on Gio now. Alex and Sky have retired from this session. Alex, unfortunately, couldn't get anywhere near pole position for the second round. And he's run out of time. Okay. I thought the game would let him finish, but he's got the clock down to 0, which I missed myself. So there it is then. Yeast planted on pole position. Look at that gap. 4/10 of a second to Shaq. Lucis and Gio round off the second row. Rabastian and Law in the McLaren on the 3rd row, and Ross and Atlas in the other McLaren on the 5th. So Yeast finished the session with 3 purple sectors, so well done to him. Alex did actually run a fastest first sector on his last lap, but obviously wasn't able to finish off the lap in the time constraints. So that lap we'll never know. He'll be disappointed that he's got his timings wrong there, because that could have been very promising. He clearly had the pace. He pipped Yeast's first sector by 2/100ths of a second. I'm going to take 2 minutes, as always, grab some water on this scorching day, and I'll be back with you guys shortly. I'm going to get the stream going as well, so have a look at your comments when the action resumes on the first lap of the Grand Prix. Okay then, so the drivers make their way down towards the grid, down the back straight now, 1.2 kilometers flat out. It's a great straight down there. Dominates the circuit really, that left hand side, more or less all the way down to the new section. Making sure the tyres are warmed, and let's check what people have decided to start with. So the whole grid on mediums, except Alex and Sprunky on the softs, and Sprink last on the hards. It's probably a good decision, really. Stay out of trouble early on in the race, try and go long and hope for a safety car just around your pit window. For those of you who were in the practice session on Monday, there were 3 safety cars in 12 laps and a 4th, just to spice things up at the end. So I'm sure we'll see at least 1 safety car tonight. The timing of that will be critical for some of these drivers, especially those soft runners. They can, if we get a safety car around lap 9 or 10, that'll suit them to a T, and it'll bring question marks to the medium runners. Can they last on the hards up until the end of the race? What would have been 19 laps? I'm sure they could. Here they go then, they're lining up on the grid. Oh, and there's been a spinner there. The Alpines lost it just a little bit sideways. And you can see Shaq there, very, very aggressive on the line, effectively pointing all the way to the right. A couple of disqualifications. We got Rabastian, Ross, Lucis and Sprunky failing to keep it on the line. A few more there as the rest of the grid packs up. Here we go then. Green lights. Let's see what the aggressive Mercedes of Shaq does to try and close off Yeast. Who gets a good start? And they're away. We've got a good angle this time. The Red Bull pulls out. He's obviously getting the move done, and he moves up a few positions. Yeast holds it at the start. No, he doesn't. The side-by-side. He gets good traction around the outside and keeps pole position. There's already a flag. There's 2 cars at the back. Already 2 DNFs at the back. Oh my goodness, I've missed that. And it's a safety car before they've even made it through 6 corners. No surprise, the circuit loves to throw them out, so we will remain calm and just wait for the action to get back underway. A bit of a anticlimactic start there, but Sprunky and Sky have obviously got caught up at the back, and they've both been eliminated from the race. Hopefully one of them has their onboards later, because I'd be interested to see what went wrong there. Well, I can imagine this isn't exactly what was planned for those drivers. It's always a little bit nerve-wracking starting the race, and you hope that you can capitalise on some opportunities at the start. Let's see who did make some gains though. Not too many, not as big as what we had last week. Atlas is up 3 positions, which is a good start from him. The 2 McLarens riding in 4th and 5th alongside each other. Love to see it. Rodo up 3 places as well. Lucist has dropped, unfortunately for him, from P3. Oh, and there's been an overtake there. Lucist has taken Lewis, which isn't really ideal under safety car conditions. I'm sure that will be investigated in the post-race. Obviously that directive came out from the league admins to strictly no going alongside the driver in front under safety car conditions. It may well have been an accident. Hopefully they have on boards to prove otherwise, but not really what you like to see. I'm sure Lewis isn't best pleased by that. Got the Mercedes doing a Kimi Räikkönen there, just going in a straight line. He doesn't care about tyre temps. Let's see if they bring them in this lap then, or if they go on. Disappointing start as well there from Alex, down 5 places. The highs and lows of racing, I guess. Poor position last week, riding high for a while, and then finds himself last. It looks like he's made a mistake because he's 5 seconds down, so there we go then. Safety car is in this lap. Let's find Yeast at the front. The throttle glitch, I'm sure, is still there in all of its glory. Let's hope no one makes a spill. I'm still yet to know if it's more than just the leader who experiences that. I restarted 3 safety cars on Monday myself from the front, and I had it every single time. Just got to be cautious. It normally gives up on the final corner, so I think it's just trying to get you to hold your pace, to be honest. He should have full control now. Yes, he does. There we go. And he's gone, has he? Yes, he's gone early. Oh, maybe not. There's a big gap already. Shaq. That's not what the rest of the field wants, so here we go then, on the run down into turn 1 again. East has a big gap. There's an incident somewhere. There's a slow AlphaTauri who's been passed by an Alpine as they head into turn 1. And everyone else gets away clean, but Alex has a big gap to make up. And Eek is making up a lot of positions here. Has something gone wrong? As they race down now, let's catch up with the leaders. We've got Lucist, who's spun on the exit of turn 1. He must have caught the curve and he's lost it into the wall over on the left hand side of the track. Let's hope that doesn't bring out another safety car. No, it hasn't. He's disappeared. So we continue green flag racing then. Got Rabastian closing in on the McLaren. Is he going to make a move? No, he holds what he's got for the time being. But he might try and sneak up the inside. He runs wide, the McLaren. Is he going to dive down the right hand side? Yes, he is. He's going to lunge him. Oh, a little bit of contact there. Runs the McLaren very wide indeed. And Atlas off the road. And Rabastian picks up the position. Didn't really give him much choice there. The McLaren had to go deep. Springs picked up a time penalty. Let's catch these guys at the back. See if there's going to be a move in the same place as they head. Oh, and he dives into the pits there, Ross. He must have picked up damage. Let me check. the telemetry if my laptop would like to come back on. Got an incident in sector 1, it's now for Romeo of Alex. He's lost his front wing, he's keeping going. Don't deploy the safety car, he's fine. Is that the safety car out? VSC, okay, better than a safety car, but Alex has kept the motor going, he's back on track. He's going to have to get himself round without a front wing, and obviously therefore without dropping the ball in doing so, and try and not lose too much delta time. So then, within 4 laps, we've had 1 safety car, 1 VSC. Never mind, it looks as though the safety car is making its way onto the track. So, echoes of Monday night, the second safety car in the opening 5 laps of this race. We try and make it exciting, but what can you do? And Alex is now just picking up time penalties as he weaves around at the back. I'm not entirely sure how he's done that there. Maybe he cut the entire chicane with the struggles under braking. It looks like he has done there. And now he's given up. He's absolutely given up. 13-second time penalty, no front wing, and a drive-through penalty to add to his woes. He's really struggling without that front wing. What is he doing, bless him? I've never seen so many time penalties. He's choosing... okay. He may well retire because he's chosen to... Yes, he's retiring from the race. That is a mistake there to... Oh, he's been disqualified. Interesting. Now, I'm not sure if that's just the game telling me he's been disqualified or if he's actually done something worthy of disqualification. Obviously, him missing the pit lane entry wasn't the ideal scenario with a drive-through and a broken front wing, but nevertheless, we're down to 12 drivers then. 5 laps. We've eliminated 4 drivers. 2 safety cars. Hopefully, we get some extended racing here, because this isn't really what the drivers want to be doing. They want to be racing, they want to be battling and overtaking each other. But it looks like we're in for another round of safety car simulator. Looking at the tyre degs then, it looks like Robastian has pitted. Let's check his tyres. Okay, maybe he hasn't. The telemetry shows him with 4%. The game says otherwise. Atlas struggling, 20% degradation, the worst of the lot. Must be setup related there then. Safety car stays out as they take the drivers round for one more lap. It's right on board with the leader. While I catch up on this task, make sure I haven't missed too much. So we've got Ross who's pitted then. Fresh softs. That kind of makes sense. I wasn't sure what he started on actually. Let me see if I can find that. He started on the... That's not him. I don't have tyre data for Ross at the moment. So then, the grid has been mixed up. We've got a lot of people who've obviously gained due to the retirees. lowering the McLaren up to P3. And Sebastian holds what he has. The safety car will obviously be brought in this lap, so for the second time, Yeast is responsible for getting the field underway. Let's see if Shaq can keep the safety car restart distance to a minimum. It was over a second last time before he even went around the final corner, so you'll want to be right in the gearbox of Yeast to make sure he puts him under pressure as they head round the final corner. Okay then, throttle is back, he blasted towards the line, and Yeast has got away, but not as well as he did on the previous safety car restart. Shaq is a lot closer this time, still not as close as you'd like him to be, but he activates the RS, and he's in on the hunt now as we head down into turn 1. Let's keep an eye out. No one really closing in on anyone, quite a few gaps considering, and they've all made it through cleanly this time. And we've got a move there, the Red Bull looking to make his way around the outside, and he does. Is he going to keep it, Sebastian? He keeps it pinned and makes a good move in the hairpin around the outside. The McLaren, his teammates, looking to get a better exit here. Let's ride on board as he heads down the back straight. We've got Ross taking sprint at the back there as well. The McLaren weaving. We've got Rodo looking to keep it tight there, and it was a late move. And he loses the position. Or should I say, he doesn't gain the position. And he's not going to make a move there. Let's ride on board for a little bit longer. We've got a good battle here from 4th to 6th. Nothing overly optimistic there. He cuts the chicane. Sorry, not the chicane, cuts the curb. Still within track limits, just a risk if you bottom out there. All over the curbs as both McLarens run wide. There's a issue there for Sprink. He's lost it, he's still got his front wing, he's going to keep it on track and he's going to keep it moving. Should be no need for another safety car. No, there is not. And he moves into turn 1. No, it looks like they're all making it through there cleanly. Ross looked pretty close there to the back of the Ferrari. Any mistakes and he'll be snapping up that position. He's used quite a lot of VRS in the opening safety car lap. 50% of his battery, and it's tight there by the Ferrari. He's going to get a way better exit here, Ross. And now he's going to use the RS to try and get the Ferrari heading down the very, very long straight. He's going to go to the inside. He's got to wheel alongside. Gio has to be prepared. He's almost got the move done before the braking zone. Is he going to keep it together? He's locked up slightly. Keeps it tight. And that's the move done. Up one position there by Ross, up into P9. But they're going to fight back, and he might well take the other Ferrari here. Yes, he has. He's been caught napping on the exit of 7 through 8. And that's Ross then. Up past both Ferraris in only 3 corners. And the next target is his teammate ahead, Lewis. And Gio has taken Eek. Eek's going slowly here. I'm not sure if he got a poor exit there. All sorts of position switches going on down towards the back of the field then. Yeast has over a second to P2. So I'm not sure who's going to get the RS as it gets enabled then. And they cross the line heading down towards turn 1 again. Look at this pack. 2 McLarens, 1 Mercedes, 2 AlphaTauris and 2 Ferraris. Battle of the team orders here then. No moves are happening here, but the Mercedes is going to have a good exit and potentially could make a move down into turn 6. DRS wide open. Atlas using the slipstream and the DRS on his poor teammate up ahead. And now then we're going to have a move here. Surely DRS will be wide open. Both McLarens going at it. He's going to save ERS. Is Lowe defending with ERS? Yes, he is. Doesn't get the move done there. Neither does the Mercedes, and the gap opening up ever so slightly between the AlphaTauris. It's a great battle though. Still just over a second gap from first to second, and the same goes from second to third, nearly 2 seconds. So the best battles are going on in the midfield. One mistake costs you so much after a safety car restart. There's not much at all. And Atlas chooses to box. He's looking to go for the overcut on his teammate. And the field pass him. Most stay out. Atlas the only one to go in there. His tyres were approaching 36% tyre wear, which I alluded to earlier. At this, during the safety car, he did have the worst degradation on the field, so it's no surprise that he's pitted early. There's an issue. It's a Ferrari. He's made a mistake, he's kept it going. I think he's still got his front wing. Very, very close there, and he makes the move. Ross gets past the Mercedes. He's made up 3 or 4 places, and a short number of laps. Snap of oversteer there from Ross though. Oh, wrong way. Great, great driving from Ross here. And look at that. His brother sneaks up the inside, his teammate. The battle of the mediums against the softs. But he looks to come back around the inside, now the outside. And we've got the Mercedes hunting behind him as well. Great racing between these 3 drivers, keeps it tight. And Ross keeps the position that he's fought so hard for. Great, great racing. This is what you want. Who wants to watch safety cars, man? When you could have this. And Multi picks up another, sorry, his first, but another for the grid, another 3-second time penalty there. So the field beginning to break up into its own little packs, apart from these 3. Ross has extended his gap ever so slightly, but his brother Lewis right on his tail. Ross will get a better exit on those softs. And Lewis is running very low on ERS. He's going to use it all in a last ditch attempt to make most use of that DRS. Having said that, Ross doesn't have an awful lot remaining either. There's a yellow flag. It's a Red Bull, it's Sebastian, he's off. Well then, he's lost P3, he's lost the podium place, he's down to P6, he's going to get taken down to P7. There is now a significant gap from the first 2 drivers. Yeast putting up a great display. Is Sebastian going to be in with a move? Oh, he's run wide there, and he's locked up. That's going to increase the gap to Rodo. He's going to be frustrated with himself. His tyres might be overheating slightly after that mistake. We've got another driver pitting there. Law, the McLaren, and Ross comes into the pit lane. So Lewis and Rodo take those 2 positions. Let's keep our eyes on that then. Atlas will obviously be coming around, and he was just behind his teammate when the safety car, sorry, just behind his teammate when he went into the pit lane, so we'll see if the overcut has worked in his favour. It's right on board with him. Let's see if he pips his teammate. Law is just heading under the tunnel now. He's taking the left-hander. It's going to be very, very close. Law's got his foot to the floor, as does Atlas. He's going to keep the position, and it looks as though... No, he's got him. He's got him. Atlas doesn't lose a position on the undercut, but he can't overcut his teammate. He'll have warmer tyres, though. And DRS. And he's going to get the move done on his teammate. I don't think Law's going to put up too much of a fight for that one. He's let him by on the outside line. And he's even lifted slightly there to ensure that he doesn't dive down the inside of his teammate. Good teamwork. I like that from the McLaren boys. We're here to do well in this championship. We're always helping each other out. So good to see that we are battling with each other. Got Robastian moving in on Rodo then, keeping the gap nicely. He had the pace. I'm sure he will be hoping to get back on the podium then. As Yeast pits, the race leader pits, and now everyone is pitting. The rest of the drivers are now in the pit lane. Let's see if Yeast has a good stop. Looks like he got away fairly well. So Shaq takes the provisional lead of the race. He'll obviously be pitting this lap coming, I would imagine. And Nolte picks up another 3-second time penalty to add to his woes. I believe that's 6 seconds now. So Yeast pits to the hard tyres, as I'm sure Shaq is about to at the end of this lap, and we'll see. I believe it was over a second's gap from Yeast to Shaq, so I would be surprised if there's any undercuts going on. We've got Lewis right up behind the gearbox of Rodo as they head down the back straight. He's thinking about a move. He's trying to warm his tyres, it looks like, at the same time. Into the braking zone. He's gone a little bit wider than he needed to. He's given him a lot of room. They've given each other. He's going to look for the switchback. No, he's going to concede the position again and just hold back for what he's got. Hasn't got much ERS to use either. Be interesting to see what happens with the McLarens, given that Law effectively gave up the position to Atlas. Will Atlas get away? Or will they end up having to battle for an overtake once again? We've got some wheel-to-wheel action. He's forced him a little bit wide. He's kept it on track. Oh, and big snaps. Lost the car, but kept it together. And Law holds the position, but Ross is right on his tail again. He's put it up the inside. That's not the most ideal place to come together. Front wing damage, but perhaps for Ross. The telemetry tells me no. Must have just been a little bit of contact. I'm tempted to not call that good racing, but you know, it's ballsy, that's for sure. Don't lunge him now. Keep the DRS, get it done easily. Oh, he thought about it, for sure. He's got the DRS. If you can get him now, that's very close, but it's a good move. He's going to have to use all of his DRS to get this move done. Is Law fighting back with his DRS? A little bit here and there. He moves to the outside, makes it difficult. Oh, a bit of a connection issue there, and he brakes, gets it turned in. I'm struggling to keep track with this connection, and it looks like Ross once again has made up yet another position. But he's getting forward straight back here. DRS wide open for the McLaren. Difficult place to overtake this. Around the outside, deep braking 50-meter board. And Ross keeps the position. But he's in his gearbox. He's going to send him again through into turn 11 and 12. Oh, he's cut across there, Ross. And there's a Williams off ahead. That's another 3-second time penalty for Sprink. Great racing. I don't think Sprink's pitted, so he's going to be compromising these guys' time. There's a yellow flag. It's Sebastian again's made a mistake on those new hard tyres. Unfortunate for him, he's dropped all the way back to the back of the grid. It looks like Sprink's away. He's not getting blue flagged, obviously, because he's not lapped, but he just hasn't. I don't think he's pitted. I might be completely wrong about that. I'll check once the battle ends. I don't want to miss anything. Meanwhile, there's still a gap to the leaders. Robastian's come in to retire. So he is the 5th victim of Abu Dhabi tonight. He's going to get the DRS then, and we'll see what kind of defence Spring puts up as Ross gets away from the McLaren, unfortunately. Shaq is within DRS. We could have a move opening up for the race lead coming up soon. Rodo now coming out of nowhere, looking to get up behind Law. He's not going to make the move here. Now, I'm trying to see... Okay, that was odd. The Red Bull was on the track map, driving around the track, although it looked as though Robastian had already DNF'd, but he's just disappeared off the track map, so that must just be another EA bug. I'd love to see it. Roto then gets the move done, past Low. Good stuff. We're looking to fight back. Shaq is closing the gap, and he's going to have an opportunity here if he gets a good exit to take the lead of the race. Let's ride on board, and we'll capture this one then. Yeast helpless without the DRS. Shaq has good ERS to use, as does Yeast if he wants to defend. He doesn't need to use it yet. Shaq shouldn't make the move here. He should get the DRS down the next straight, get a good exit out of the chicane, and try and get him into the hairpin of 9. Rodo is closing in to Yeast, but I don't want to cut away. I don't want to miss the race lead again. We've got a nice pack of 4 or 5 moving down the main straight, and Rodo does get the position. That's 2 positions gained in only 2 laps. Good driving from him. And it's getting even tighter, just down to 2 tenths now for the race lead. They don't have to worry about anything going on behind. Atlas with a 14-second gap. They can just concentrate on racing. A mistake wouldn't be the end of the world. Well, a big mistake would be. A small one, not so much. It's always the consequence of battling. You obviously don't want to lose the position behind. There's 2 drivers fighting in front, and Sprink DNFs there. Another one. I was going to say bites the dust, but that would be a little bit too cringy. I said it anyway. And that's a safety car. The 3rd safety car then. This might shake up the order a little bit. We've got some guys. Let's check who's going to pit back here. Drivers choosing to stay out on those hard tyres sounds like a wise decision. They don't want to go back to use mediums, and it's not quite the time for softs. So no changes to the order then. 10 drivers remaining, with 12 laps of racing to go right now. More like 10 when the safety car comes in, as the race leaders head down towards the bottom of the back straight. So that was a good few laps there. No relaxing for me. Great battle from, let's say, P4 down to P7. A lot of great overtakes, thankfully catching most of them. Good stuff by Rodo. I think, did he make a mistake earlier? And he obviously had the pace over the guys around him. Shaq has set the fastest lap of the race, a 10th clear of Yeast, so he does have pace, particularly in the 3rd sector, taking 2 tenths off Yeast's best time. But Yeast fights back in the 2nd sector, taking those 2 tenths back, so it's a great battle up ahead. I'm sure these 2 drivers are going to stay with each other right until the final lap of the race. Could be a very tight finish. Let's ride on board with them then as they approach the safety car. I'm going to use this opportunity to get some more water. So then I wonder how comparatively the first division race is going on. I don't have that stream open. I might actually, while we're waiting. I'll have a look. So what we've got going on over there. I like that you can stream twice to one channel. I didn't know that was a thing. Oh wow, a lot of drivers out in first division then. Only 9 of the 18 drivers remain. So a whole 10 drivers have suffered. And ironically, they are also under safety car conditions on lap 19 of the race then. Vlad leading to Ahmed. Smithy and Jones, the RPM boys in P5 and P6. So only 8 drivers there. Unfortunate, you can't really get that good of an event when there's so many DNFs, unfortunately. But anyway, we still have 10 drivers. It's good enough. So, safety cars in this lap then. Yeast will control the field for the 3rd time this session. and he's holding them longer this time. That's going to give Shaq, you'd think, a tighter exit. He's holding them all the way to the line this time. As he gets away, look at the pack. That's a way better safety car pack. Let's watch then. And Derry moves into turn 1. It looks like they all want to get through safely. Yes, they do. As they head down now, let's see if anyone hasn't quite had the tyre warm-up phase that they would hope for. The leader makes it through. P2 makes it through. They're all making it through. There's tight there on the AlphaTauri. The AlphaTauri might make a move. I've missed it. No, I haven't. There it is. He's down the inside of Law again. Lewis, can he stick it on the exit? No DRS. He's going to make a move here. There may all be a move for the lead. It doesn't look like it's come off. He's going to go down the inside. Doesn't quite get it slowed down in time. And can't make the move stick. Let's stick with the leaders then. Gap extending to 8 tenths to the lead. There's already a gap of 1.5 seconds between Rodo and Low. Out of DRS, which is yet to be enabled. There's a spinner. It's multi. He's had the time penalties and he's lost it through 9. It's a difficult traction zone, especially if your tyres aren't quite right in that perfect window. He's kept it on track though. No need for any more yellows. Those time penalties haven't helped him either. It's going to be a long 10 laps unless we find another, and he's understeering there. Has he got damage? I'll try and bring that to you shortly. No damage for Multi, so he's managed to keep it on the road at least. He's now... wait, did he pit? No, it didn't look like he pitted there, so no damage for the Aston, just unfortunately a big gap to make up. No moves to the lead, as expected. No moves at all. It looks like everyone is going to make it through there nice and tidily. Good stuff. As I mentioned earlier, the sector times between these two guys are very, very close. Obviously there's variables in there, could be ERS, could be tyre deg. But Yeast has sector 2 and Shaq has sector 3. And they're both very, very equal in sector 1, so a very entertaining final 10 laps to go. All you've got to do is keep the pressure. Let the lead driver know that you're there. He'll be looking in his mirrors constantly. Try and get him to make a mistake. As DRS gets enabled, then there's an opportunity for Shaq to make the move. He's got just over 50% ERS there in comparison to Yeast, who again is doing really well to harvest that energy. He hasn't needed to use it to defend too often. He's got the raw pace, it seems. He's going to be within DRS, as is Ross, so he will look to take the podium place at the end of this straight then. He's closing. He's closing in for the lead. Again, it may be wise to hold out. He's going to hold out for the next straight, which is sensible. And there's no move there. Oh wait, Ross, yes. Ross took him. Ross is up into the podium places. Atlas suffers down to P4. And he's going to use the remaining of his ERS there, Ross, to try and extend the gap. And Shaq is not going to be able to close down enough onto the race lead. Very close battle here with the McLaren. He's got a poor exit. He's lost the gap. He was right up behind him, less than a tenth as they entered 9. Bit of tyre detail there for you then. Atlas just a few laps older. A safety car now, and everyone would box immediately for new tyres as Ross sets the fastest lap of the race into the 127s by 5 1,000ths of a second. Great lap. Shaq's going to have to go for a heavy braking zone here if he wants to get a good exit, because he wasn't quite close enough last time out, and he's further away than he was last time. DRS open again then. Yeast moves over to defend the inside. He's closing. Is he going to go for it? He's used all of his battery. He may as well go for it. It's a heavy braking zone. He's not going to slow down in time. Oh, there's contact there on the front wing of Yeast, and he's gone through the chicane. He's cut the corner and he's got a penalty. That's really unfortunate. I mean, he's kept the position. It looks like he's going to give him it back. But I mean, it was a daring move by Shaq. He couldn't get the car slowed down in time. And Yeast may well have damage there. The telemetry tells me he does. He's got 6% front wing damage, so it's minor. But that was a daring move by Shaq, and in my opinion, a little bit too ballsy. And very unfortunate for Yeast. He's led the race the entire way, and now he's picked up a penalty for avoiding a collision. And there is Lewis. Lewis is out of the race. No, so unfortunate. And the Gio, two of them. He must have picked him up. He must have been somewhere. We saw, I believe it was Zeke, and there's a safety car as the leaders pass the entrance then. That's so unfortunate for them. Everyone's going to pit to softs, who was in that window. We saw, I believe it was Eek on Monday, spun on turn 9, faced the wrong way. In fact, I don't think it was Eek, I'm trying to remember who it was. Someone spun facing the wrong way on the exit of turn 9, and a Haas just came clattering into him. I wouldn't put it past these guys to have had the exact same incident. Lewis may have dropped the ball, and Gio has picked him up on the way through. It's a partially blind corner. Yeah, I agree there, Billy. I was going to make that reference. Verstappen last year, Lewis Hamilton cutting the corner. The FIA deemed it not necessary to give Lewis a time penalty. It's a shame the game is the way it is, because I got a time penalty on the practice race for avoiding a collision coming out of turn 4. And Yeast has done the same, so disappointing there. I'm sure he'll be very annoyed. What can you do? What can you do? Might get submitted. It was it was very ballsy. And Yeast had obviously come across to defend the inside. Shaq decided to take the inside line anyway. Braked very deep. Needed to go all the way down to first gear to try and get as much rotation as he could, but it just wasn't enough, and that's obviously led Yeast to have the penalty and some damage. They're going to pick up the safety car, and I can't imagine it's going to enter the pits until lap 25, so we're going to have 5 laps of racing, and Yeast is going to pit, which is a great move. I respect that. Shaq has stayed out, or has he followed him in? No, Shaq stayed out. Wait. Yes. Now, Yeast has got nothing to lose really by pitting. He would have only suffered to the soft tyre runners beforehand, but that might help Ross, because I believe Ross is now... Oh no, he's not. Ross hasn't pitted. Okay then. So this could theoretically be quite good for Yeast. If he's got the pace, he'll be on those soft tyres in front of some fairly old hard tyres. We'll see what Ross chooses to do next lap. I'd be surprised if he came in. If he hasn't gone in then, I'd be surprised if he went in on the next lap. Fingers crossed for Yeast, to be honest. I'd love to see him crawl his way back to P1, because he's done such a good job for the first 20 laps of this race. He's held his own. He's never really been in any trouble. He's held his ERS. His raw pace has kept him in the lead. So it'll be all eyes on him then in the final 5 laps of the Grand Prix. Can he get back on the podium? Can he get P1? Let's see. If I remember correctly, Yeast DNF'd last week, or he didn't make it. I don't remember seeing him on the final scoreboard, so he definitely wasn't in the top 15. So it'll be a significant improvement on last week if he can win the race. Absolutely. Ross, obviously last week's winner, and Atlas in P2, so they are just 1 position each shy of their returns last week. Only 8 drivers remaining then after that collision in turn 9, so similar to First Division earlier. Be interesting to see how many of those drivers have held it together after I last checked. Multi catching the back of the pack, the safety car will go around for one more lap, as expected. And Yeast knows. He's got that fire in his belly. He's held the lead of the race for the entire duration, and he knows he's on the soft tyres, he knows he's got the fresh tyres, and he knows he's got the pace. You look to clear Atlas as soon as possible, and you'll probably commit to using ERS early to try and get ahead of Ross and Atlas. Fingers crossed he doesn't go too aggressive on Shaq. I don't really like retaliation, but we'll have to see how it plays out. All I know is the battle for the podium and the battle for P1 is going to be very entertaining. I love a late safety car, not so much the early ones, because you like to let the drivers settle into the race. But a late one, who doesn't love a late safety car? Now, I'm not sure if the the task system has failed to update, but it's telling me that Yeast still has front wing damage, so the game may not have changed his front wing, whether he's accidentally set it to no and forgot to change it back, or maybe he's happy. Maybe he's happy with the damage. You know, he might have told the game, no, I'm happy to keep this front wing, minimise the time spent in the pits, get back out on track, and see what he can do with that minor damage. As I say, it's only 6%, so I'm sure he'll be able to deal with that for the final 5 laps. It'll be 4 laps when we cross the line. Let's ride on board the Shaq then. Again, as I mentioned, it's critical that Yeast clears Atlas as soon as he can. Those 15-lap-old hards will be starting to lose the pace. And to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if he made a lunge into turn 5. Again, Verstappen like on Lewis last year. I don't want to talk about that, so I'm not gonna. Here we go then. Shaq, foot to the floor. Oh, not quite, he holds them. He's gonna floor it now. Let's watch them as they pile into turn 1, and it's ran wide. Atlas has ran wide. That's poor. Lack of concentration there. And you'd be convinced that Yeast is going to pip that position more or less straight away. But there's a problem there. Ross has got a poor exit. Let's catch up with them. Come on, game. Yeast is looking to take Ross, who's already lost a position. And although Atlas picked up that penalty, he's managed to take P2. You've got to remember, Yeast has that 3-second time penalty to consider, so he's got to try and make the gap. He's going to use as much of ERS as he can. Atlas has made his move. He can't move again. He's not going to get the move done this time. He brakes nicely. And Rodo has taken Ross as well. Terrible safety car restart there from Ross then. He had a great... Oh, and he's lost another position. All those tyres are not doing well against those soft runners. What can you expect? He should have pitted. But considering the positions that he made up earlier, it's a big shame to see him drop back down to P6 after riding high in P2 at the safety car restart. All eyes on Yeast, who's taken Atlas, and now he can get at Shaq. Now there is a chance here, if you get Shaq in the next couple of laps, there's a chance, there's a small chance he can extend the gap on those tyres. The Aston Martin multi has lost it again. Please no VSC, just keep it green. He's got it going. A lot of mistakes, unfortunately for him there. So then let's watch on. Rodo's not going to get the move done, neither is Law. And Ross is going to struggle. Ross might end up last here. Okay, he won't get overtaken by Multi, but Eek on those soft tyres. Really unfortunate for Ross, last week's race winner. A dive there by the Mercedes. No, he thinks better of it. A great exit. Oh, this is it. He's got to use all of his ERS. Is he going to make the move? Shaq moves over to the left and then brings it back over to the inside. He's not going to get the move done now. He's still kept a decent amount of ERS. Similar ERS levels, and he's right on his tail there, right inside his gearbox, putting him under pressure. This is what Shaq needed to do to Yeast earlier before he made that ballsy move down the inside. Yeast keeping his ERS. Trouble is, if he doesn't get past him soon, he's never going to be able to open up that gap. The 3-second time penalty may get, I don't know, it may get reversed post-race by the stewards. I'm not sure what their stance is on avoiding a collision. But if not, he needs to get this move done. Oh, he's cut the corner there. That'll be a track limits warning. He's gone wide to try and get a good exit. He's got an exit. He might make the move here. He might. Oh, he's not gonna, but he's very close. He's had to ease off. There's a good chance he takes him at any point here. Is he going to wait for the DRS? It would be wise. It would be wise to wait for the DRS, which he's going to do then. Ross potentially making a move. No, he's just closed the gap. He will pick up DRS. Not many drivers are going to have DRS here. A lot of gaps. But this is the one we're interested in. He's got DRS. He's using the remainder of his overtake. A bit of weaving there by Shaq. He moved to the left, then the right, then the left again. Is he going to get the move? He's got the move, and Shaq, no way. Can he return? And he's not going to get the traction because those hards are just getting worse and worse as time goes on. He's going to use the remainder of his ERS to try and stay within a second of yeast, but I highly doubt he's going to manage that with the final 2 laps to go. We've got a position there. Eek has taken Atlas, and he looks to take Ross as well on those hards. He's taken 2 hard runners, and Eek then in the Ferrari moves past and takes P5. Unfortunate for Atlas, but what can you do on those hard tyres? Same goes for Ross. A very unfortunate restart then. So, Yeast crosses the line as we head down for the final lap of the race, and in the process sets the fastest lap of the race, the 27.1, low fuel, fresh tyres. And that is very close to the 26s, which is a great race pace. Again, he's not going to make the 3 seconds up, so it'll be interesting to see what the stewards make of that incident after. So it looks like Shaq is going to take the win, unless Rodo can do anything about it. No, there's a far too much of a gap. It would take one almighty mistake by Shaq to concede the lead of the race. It looks as though Yeast is well within the gap, yes, so he's going to keep second place at worst. And I wouldn't expect Shaq to make any ballsy moves. No, I think that'll be all. No more positions being gained at the back. It's very tight between Eek and Lowe. He's going to get him on the inside. Is he going to pip him? Yes, he has. Lowe's been taken. And Eek takes 4th place. I'm glad I caught that. Great move through 9 up the inside. And there's no chance for him to get the overtake done now. That's right on board, or off board even, as Yeast comes across the line. He led the entire race. He picked up a very unfortunate penalty. He does cross the line first, and that is a great win for the Aston Martin team. The fireworks are away. Shaq takes net P1 there, post penalties. Yeast holds P2. Rodo rounds off the podium. Eek with a last ditch move there in turn 9 on Law to take P4. Ross unfortunately caught out on that safety car. Ended the race on 18 lap old tyres after having a good battle in the midfield for large proportions of the race. 5th and 7th for my team. Points on the board. Could have been a lot worse. And Multi, despite his few mistakes, he's managed to finish the race. So a good result all in all. A lot of DNFs there, as you can see. But Shaq then, your race winner for Aston Martin, for Mercedes. Again, it'll be interesting to review that incident. Maybe they'll make nothing of it, but that'll definitely be one to watch over the next few days. More importantly, will Yeast file something against that? We'll soon see. Driver of the day, Eek then. We'll see what the positions were. He's obviously made some good gains. Obviously all those DNFs would make it slightly easy, but hey, that's racing. You get what you're given. You take what you can get. So we wait now for the drivers to step up onto the podium. I see Mr. Bread in the comments. I assume that's yeast. Oh yeah, it would be, because yeast is bread. Makes sense. Well, there he is then. Mercedes on the top step of the podium. Muted celebrations there, obviously, from Yeast in P2. He's going to pop the champagne nonetheless. But he's right, he's gutted. He did deserve the win. He led the entire race, and he's obviously come to jump into the comments section to let his feelings be known. Rightly so. So there's your final results then. Shaq P1, Yeast P2 provisionally. Rodo, Eek round off 3rd and 4th. Lower and Ross, unfortunate for Ross, P6. Good result in the end, but obviously he had a promising race. Couldn't match his P1 finish last week. Atlas and Multi finish off the finishes. And the remainder of the grid there, Gio, Lewis, Brink, Sebastian, Alex, Lucist and more. Your DNFers, big gap to Multi as you'd expect after that late spin. That's it from me then. Great finish by Rodo from P10 up to the podium. It's been a good evening really. Plenty of safety cars, plenty of action. Next up, we take the drivers to Bahrain, not too far away, just a few miles somewhere else in the Middle East. My geography of the Middle East isn't the best. But that's all from me. I hope you guys have enjoyed it, and I will hopefully catch you all next week where we go on another interesting Grand Prix. Cheers, guys.